Tech Addicts 2025, Episode 21, ChatGPT for Adult Users. This week, reports that ChatGPT might start entertaining adult users, Pro-Ject's new Elvis turntable dazzles, the Pixel Watch is a masterclass in smartwatch design, and Samsung to introduce the Android XR headset soon. Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts podcast. This is me, Gareth, and I'm joined as always by Ted. How you doing, Ted?
Hello everyone, it's so wonderful to be with you once again, and in a packed show tonight, today, we shall be talking about all sorts of two Ronnies related things. Weather report from North Wales is that it's supposed to be pissing down with rain and windy, and it's neither. It's actually gone a bit kind of mildish again. Bloody weather. What's it like there?
Oh, it's rainy and stormy, and I think it's heading your way. So after lunch, you'll be dancing around in the garden to the rain. I'm sure you'll be very enamoured by that.
Hurrah! Yay!
Great. Well, it's been a lively week. There's been a few interesting things going on. There was a couple of things that I was thinking about sticking in, but then I thought there's not too much to go on at the moment. I did notice a wee headline about how Graphene OS might be landing on possibly nothing phones, so you'll be able to de-Google your life and de-iPhone your life and things like that. Pick up a nothing phone and have a very secure and private relationship with your operating system, which could be good fun. But we'll watch that and see which manufacturer it is, because Graphene OS hasn't said who they've done a deal with at the moment. Yeah. But what we have had is a response to my little duty-free drama last week, and Andy Morris has written in. Ted, if you would.
Just been listening to the latest podcast, says Andy, and got to the bit about duty-free and paying in the USA. The reason, Gareth Myles, there is a 6% charge, which is the conversion to British money, plus a charge to do so. So there's a 6% charge, plus a charge on top of that, which you should always pay in the local currency. And the way they do the duty-free collection is the same as what happens across the globe, not just in the USA. He had it in Hong Kong, for example, where you collect at the gate. None of this has anything to do with tariffs or Trump or USA or anything. And also the departure lounge is still classified as the USA or the country you are in. So you were right about that, because that's what you said, wasn't it?
Possibly, yes. A little backstory for those of you who didn't listen last week is that I went through duty-free and I was giving off because whenever I went to pay for something, I'm kind of used to being given the two things, because when I'm down in Dublin or something, it will say, would you like to pay in euro or would you like to pay in sterling? And I know that one of the best things is to pay in euro there and then, because you get the I think it's the exchange rate at the time, as opposed to paying in something else, and you get at the time the transaction comes out, you get the exchange rate plus any fees or whatever that are attached to it. So I think that's what Andy's meaning is, that it's just a bigger, wordier version of that. And I'm just reading over my my reply to him there and noticing, I've said it the other way around. I would pay in euro when I'm in ERA, as opposed to pounds whenever I'm in ERA. So never mind. Yes, it was one of those things that caught me off guard. So I hadn't experienced that before, and I generally don't buy from duty free. Now I think about it. My wife would buy from duty free when we're going through, and she would probably buy me a bottle of whiskey or something like that going through duty free. But I can't think of the last time I actually bought anything in duty free outside of that story that I relayed which was about 10 years ago, maybe more, when I bought the Arcos. Yeah, I don't think I buy too much in duty free. Really. Anyway,
No.
I was concerned that the whole romantic side of duty free and getting nice, cheap stuff had gone away. Sorry, Ted.
I was going to say, nor have I, that the last time I had anything to do with getting stuff from other countries, it was to do with all the Filipino people I knew, and they don't give a shit. They just chuck it in their case and roll the dice. The amount of stuff that has come back from Manila, over the years, and they just don't care. It's like, well, if they get caught doing it, they'll just take it away, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is kind of what you can get away with. My brother was heading home yesterday, and he was asked by one of his friends out in Maine to bring back some lemon bonbons because
Right.
they're something that you can't get out there. And he was like, "What am I going to do though? Do I have to stick 6 bags of these in my case? What?" Like, oh, right. Should we go through cash and carry on the way home or on the way down to the airport, and you can get some plastic containers full of them, lemon bonbons. What? But anyway,
The
he didn't
the
do it in
live
end. Said he forgot.
the live food thing is something else. Not live, but fresh meat. Because there was this thing that they have in Philip. You probably know this because you've been out there. It's like what's it called? It's an egg. So they get a chicken's egg, and they let it. They don't whip it away from the chicken. They let the chicken fertilize it, and then when it's almost ready to hatch, they whip it away and then cook it. And inside, it's got like the makings of the chicken in it. On the face of it, it sounds disgusting. And when my ex-wife first introduced me to this, I really didn't fancy it. But honestly, when I tasted it, it was just lovely. Anyway, the point of that story was that they just put these things in their cases, and these eggs with these chickens in it. And they're not allowed to. And amoxicillin as well. Amoxicillin out in the Philippines is just so like you just buy them wherever, and there is a risk that they might not be genuine, but most of the time we found they've worked and they're fine. And again, they just chuck them in their cases. I hope I'm not getting anyone into trouble by. Oh, no one listens to our podcast, do they?
No, but you've just told the most horrendous story I think I've ever heard in my life. Jeez. Right. No, I don't know those eggs. And I hope I know
Balut?
where they
Is it
come
called a balut? Balut?
from. I haven't a clue.
Balut egg. Honestly, it's really nice. Oh yeah, it is. It's called. What a good memory I've got. Balut. And if you look at this and look at a video of someone eating one, or
Oh God,
it's just disgusting. But I have to say, when she talked me into tasting it, it was just lovely.
Ted, I don't know if you and I have ever got to this part of our relationship, but I have an egg phobia. I despise the bloody things. They are disgusting.
Right.
They're the most horrendous food on this planet. Runny and scrambled, yellows and whites, and no. Oh, right. Okay. We're gonna move on to Scott. Scott Weddington has written in on new Wi-Fi technology that can accurately identify individuals without devices. Scientist Ted, take this forward whilst I get my bin.
I don't know that I really understand this fully. But what it's saying is that radio waves can map the surroundings. So if you've got a router in your house, or your building, which are so hugely ubiquitous that everyone's got one, then if these organisations have got the right equipment and software and whatever else, they can interpret the radio waves of people moving around the house, or even what your face looks like, or where you are, or what you're doing, or if you're having a quick wank, I mean, anything that you're doing, it will be able to track your movements. So what they're saying is that this lays aside the need for CCTV or cameras in doorbells or any other kind of surveillance network stuff, because these Wi-Fi routers that are already everywhere can, given the right kind of back end, map what everyone's doing. They did a test with 197 participants, and they were able to determine the identities of 100% accuracy, regardless of the person's walking style or perspective. So, like I said at the outset, I really fully quite understand the technology. Hopefully, Scott does, and he can fill in the gaps if I've got it wrong, or you can now if you like.
Well, whenever I had a quick read through it this morning, I got the impression that this was something along the lines of, I don't know, the Predator, where you get that sort of heat vision and you get to see through the eyes of the Predator as he's tracking someone, and where someone is moving through Wi-Fi signal infested area, they will break up the Wi-Fi with their fleshy sack of goop, which is their body, and then people can tell where people are because they're walking through
Right.
wireless frequencies. I got that part of it, I think, but now you mentioned about how it would be able to tell that you're having a wank, for the lack of a better term, which makes me think: is it more to do with the packet data that's coming from the Wi-Fi router to your device, or perhaps they can integrate it all together? Because I know whenever you're looking into VPNs, they've got this, what is it, defense against AI guided traffic analysis. Because I was thinking this could enter into it as well, where it's a new way that they're using VPNs or using information to be able to track what people are downloading by their packet size. So that this DIA
No,
tech divides
I
it
don't
down
think it's.
into smaller packages.
I don't think it's to do with that. I think it's to do physically. When you put a router in your house, it
Yeah,
sends out radio waves, and so
yeah,
what it's saying is that if you put your hand across one of the waves, it knows that it's been interrupted by something more solid than it was not there before. So I don't think it's to do with
yeah.
the
So it's more
packets.
like it is more like predator vision, where they'll be watching maybe from the side of the house, and they'll be able to see someone walking around the house because they're blocking the Wi-Fi
Yeah, yeah,
signals.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well,
That's
that kind of makes sense.
a bit scary though.
It is, but you can imagine that that would be a sensible way for them to be able to do things. In the movies, you've got people standing outside with this kind of kit, whereas they were able to do that through sound waves before, and then through heat detection and various different bits and pieces that they would use for Operation Desert Storm, going in and taking down whoever it is that they were taking down in Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Where heat maps might
yeah.
not work, especially if you're in the Arctic or something, or the other way around, the Sahara. Yeah,
The
Desert Storm.
implications, yeah, the implications for the technology are quite broad, aren't they?
They are, yeah, yeah. So they'll be able to watch you walking around the house with a strange fistling going on in your trousers. I see.
Yeah, or a
Okay.
fast moving arm.
Thanks,
Talking of
Scott.
which,
Thanks, Scott. Ted managed to lower the tone.
Slinky link to the news.
Well, yes, we're going into the news because Sam Altman says that ChatGPT will soon be able to allow erotica for adult users, and this allows users to make chatbots' responses more human-like and enable verified adults, obviously, to engage in erotic conversations. This shift comes after OpenAI implemented safety measures to address concerns about vulnerable users, including launching GPT-5 with reduced psychopathy. Psychopathy. Do you want
Um,
SYCOPHANCY? Psychopathy.
sycophant. Oh yeah, sycophant. So sycophancy, sycophancy.
Sycophancy. And introducing age gating for minors. However, the decision raises concerns about how vulnerable users might interact with the new features, especially as OpenAI aims to grow its user base and compete with companies like Google and Meta. Now, this is something that I remember there being a discussion of quite some time ago, and it was the whole idea that, you know, AI could essentially remove the need for pornography because you'd be able to go and generate whatever you wanted to do to get your rocks off that day when Ted, you're walking around the house in front of your Wi-Fi waves. And you don't have to go onto the internet to go and find a model doing what you're wanting to do. And that model might have been voluntarily doing it or not, involuntarily doing it. And it would really destroy the whole, that whole chat room idea where guys log on and you've seen Taken and things like that, where they've got rows and rows of little video chat rooms and they've got girls being exploited and things like that. And it's always portrayed from the point of view that the girls don't want to do this. So you imagine that this allowing AI to provide that kind of artistic output would allow them to decrease the need for online pornography outlets. So it was a bit of an argument at the time: should Google allow X-rated or Gemini to produce X-rated content to massively knock into the whole just trying to get some sort of nice little wank term in there, knock something into the whole pornography world, and it does have its pros and cons, it really does, and I think this is a step closer to what people are looking for from that side of the argument. Ted, what do you think?
I thought this was more about like virtual girlfriends and virtual boyfriends and being able to get to chat with someone, not to do with like pictures of stuff, replacing pornography. I thought it was about getting on to one of these chat thingies and having someone that will respond to you saying, and can you describe what you're doing now? And I want to think of you taking this off or putting this on or bending over this way. And the person or the machine the other end would be then describing back to the person. I thought it was just audio chat stuff. But you think it's more than that, do you?
Well, I think one leads to the other. If you get someone who, because we've already heard stories about how people are falling in love with their AI chatbot, and they want to marry them. So that's obviously going to become a little less exciting as the years go on, when the responses are pretty much dry and uninformed. So where they can spice things up with their responses, will allow the person who is using it to develop a better relationship with them.
Sure.
And it comes from that argument that perhaps a rapist is only a rapist because they can't manage to get a girlfriend or something. That whole idea, or someone who's spent years not being able to get a girlfriend or boyfriend, ends up being some kind of sociopath sycophant who needs to forcibly do things and take advantage of girls who are or boys who are being exploited to produce material.
One of the interesting statistics that this is quoting is that a report from the Centre for Democracy and Technology found that 19% of high school students, presumably in America, have either had a romantic relationship with an AI chatbot or know a friend who has. So 1 in 5 people have been kind of dipping into this anyway. This is a different world we're living in. I'm an old fart.
Well, that's the kind of crap statistic that I absolutely hate because, if you're in a school and uh, Johnny Toronto over there has a relationship with an AI, then everyone in the school is going to know about it. So that
Oh
19%
yeah,
is actually
yeah.
one person, whereas the whole school knows. It's not a,
Yeah, fair enough.
so yeah, I don't know. I still think that once they get like full marks up there for age control in uh, AI assistance, then you should be able to do with it whatever you want
Uh-huh.
because no one is really being exploited by it. Um, and if you're over 18, you're an adult, so you should be able to do what you want.
Except that it might be turning your mind and then making you into a serial killer who sexually exploits people in the real world. I mean, yeah, you're right. That's the argument, isn't it?
But I think at the
To say,
moment we're starting to see that people are doing that anyway. So there's a possibility that this could help someone somewhere, which is also going to have a knock-on effect and help someone not be attacked.
yeah, maybe. Although other studies show that it's because of pornography, or, violent pornography, that violent crime has increased with in terms of sexuality. Yeah, it's a huge topic, isn't it? I mean, for
It
goodness
is.
sake.
I am gearing myself up to say that that prostitutes, obviously, or if people prefer the term sex workers, they are absolutely valued in society and should be there because it helps
Yeah.
people get their rocks off, and they're not going out and finding some poor person who is going to have to, I don't know, be attacked in order for that person to get their rocks off. So they provide a service.
And as Woody Allen would say, it saves having to have a partner in life.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's good, isn't it?
Well, a theme in his films, as you must know, probably is that he made use of prostitutes because that was it. Really. It was simple. It was sex, and that part of a relationship you can just go and get, and so then you can spend the rest of your time doing what you want to do and not having to be tied down to being in a relationship, inverted commas. And there is an argument for that. Why are we going down this avenue anyway?
Not entirely sure. I don't think Woody Allen and ChatGPT were generally designed in the same mold. Well, we could move on because I'm sure you're busting to talk about Pro-Ject's new audiophile turntable that
Oh
looks
yeah.
absolutely mesmerizing, as the Gear Patrol does report. Tell us about the Elvis turntable.
I didn't realise that Project was an Australian company. No, sorry, Austrian company. Um, that was news to me. I didn't know where they were from really, but yeah, Austrian apparently. The Elvis turntable, which I have to say looks absolutely stunning. It's a shame it's Elvis and not an artiste that I would want all over my turntable. So you've got the T2 turntable, the Project T2, which costs about £600 incidentally to buy without this Elvis bit on it. Right, bear that in mind for later. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a result of his 90th birthday, the they've made this platter instead of the normal T2 one. They've embedded LED lights to make his name across the back of where your record sits and your tone arm sits. So embedded into the platter, not the platter, the box beneath the platter. So my point, and we're not really quite sure whether those lights come up when it's on, when it's off, or they flash when it's working, or whatever it does, or maybe that's completely customizable. But the Project T2 is 600 quid, right? And this thing with the lights in is 1,200 quid. So they've doubled the price of it. As part of my research into this, I also found that there's a whole series um, of project turntables called the Artist Series, and there's a link in this article that we're linking to get there. And there's also there's a Dark Side of the Moon one for 2 grand, and there's a There's lots of Beatles ones as well. So Beatles different platters. There's one that looks ridiculously like a yellow submarine, for example. And yeah, if you follow the link, you'll see that there's about a dozen different things that they're calling the Artist Series. None of which I would really fancy. But if this Elvis one had Queen or Bowie across it or something, someone I liked, I'd say I'd be in for that. But 1,200 quid instead of 600? What do you reckon?
No, no, thanks. It just looks like there's a bit of plastic there, which has some canals milled out of it, and they're stuck with it's either LEDs or pomegranate. Yeah, I think it's probably pomegranate actually, and then a electrical current set through it. I don't think so. No,
Fair
no, not
enough.
for £1,200 for a £600 record player.
Indeed. Oh,
Sorry,
and also,
Project.
and also, the record player hasn't got a preamp in it either, and there's no Bluetooth, so the T2 is really bare bones. You can get T2 versions that have got that stuff in it, but this one is a real base one. So you'd have to factor in a preamp into it as well, and if you want Bluetooth, that as well, and that's another 50 to 100 quid. So anyway, nice
Just out of
idea.
interest, and it has a glass or at least transparent material for the platter. Is that normal? Does it grip the record particularly well whenever it's turning?
Oh, you mean the turntable itself?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, the turntable. Yeah.
It's I think it's acrylic. It's not glass. I think it's
Okay.
acrylic, and
I think it could
but
slip.
in actual fact, if you didn't have the word Elvis behind it, most sensible people would have a cork thing on that anywhere, or a rubber
Rubber
turntable
mat.
mat. Yeah, but if you've got Elvis behind it, you want to see it, don't you?
Well, it doesn't matter because you're going to put a black LP on it, and that's going to
When it's not
obscure
in
it
use, yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
When it's not in use, and that's what I was saying about we're not really clear about when the lights come on and when they don't, and
No, but
whether
even
it's when
whenever it
it's
is in use, when you put a record on it, you're not going to be able to see underneath the acrylic. Uh,
no, but no, but the point is that if it's designed so that when you're using it, the lights go off. It's only there as an ornament, effectively, when you haven't got a record on it, so that it shines up in the corner of your room with a name on it, and you can anyway. Who knows?
yeah. Okay. Well, if you buy one, let us know if it was worth it. All right. Next up is Samsung, and they are set to officially
Oh, you missed one.
unveil.
Look,
Did
he
I?
keeps leaping over things.
What did I miss? Oh yes, the
Pixel
Pixel.
Watch.
Sorry, the Pixel Watch. I've opened all the stories on my web browser, so I didn't make notes on this because it's a video and I watched the video. Yes,
Yeah.
the Pixel Watch 4 has received a rather nice breakdown using the iFixit tools over on YouTube, and their general consensus is that it's a really nicely designed watch that seems to be very much favouring the idea of local repair or home repair or whatever, and you'll be able to buy bits and pieces that need to be replaced, which is great given that it's got a very high IP rating. And there's all kinds of gaskets and things that can be replaced in the future. Ted, this looks like a really good step forward for home repair.
A link in the show notes to a 4-minute YouTube video demonstrating the whole process. And the guy that's doing it, I can't remember his name now, the iFixit bloke, he is taking it all apart and even down to gaskets. And well, you need to watch it. It's only 4 minutes long, but he's really wowing about it, and he thinks that it's the best thing, the best watch that's ever been made in terms of repairability, replacing parts, that they're really accessible, and screws and blah blah blah. Have a look, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic little video. I think it's really well put together, and your man, whatever his name is, Bob, we'll call him
Yeah.
Bob.
Bob.
He narrates it very well. He's got very good diction, I have to say. I'm very envious of the fella. Yeah, it looks like a good looking watch, and I think this is going to sell a lot more Pixel watches, given that you can do this.
I'm
Would
trying
you
to work
ever
out.
tame one on the back of this?
Well, I was just going to say that in the group in the last couple of days, we've been trying to work out what the difference is between the Pixel Watch 3 and 4 in terms of the domed frontage of it, because I can't work it out. I've tried to look at loads of pictures. One reviewer said you can't show the difference, but it's there, and you need to hold it in your hand to see the difference and feel the difference. But honestly, I can't see it. I've looked at all sorts of angles on the 3 and the 4, and it looks the same to me. Now, the 3 isn't repairable like this, to be fair, but I don't feel that I need to upgrade to the 4 because it's so incredibly similar to the 3 that I've got anyway, and the 3 is well supported with software going forward, with Wear OS 6 on it now, and it's lovely with the M3E all over it, which is just great.
Fair enough, fair enough. But it is one of those things that really is hard to put into words. Whenever you pick something up and you just fall in love with the feel of it and the weight,
Yeah.
and it just feels perfect. And perhaps that person might work for Google who suggested that. It's like, well, if you buy one, you'll like it.
Yeah.
Well, this will come as a shock to you, but we're going to move into Samsung next,
Ah.
because they are set to officially unveil their Android XR headset. Now, this has been called Project Muhan behind closed doors, and the upcoming worldwide event thing that's coming, what's it called, Worlds Wide Open or something, I think it's called,
Yeah.
which is on Tuesday. It's is expected to see the Samsung Galaxy XR, which is the first commercially available product to use Android XR platform for its augmented reality. The event is likely to reveal the release date and the price as well. And yeah, what do you expect to see through this
But
thing?
first thing to say is that it's quite an odd one because the 21st of October at 10 p.m. is actually the 22nd of October here at about 3 a.m., I think it is, or 2 a.m. So you'll have to get up early. So yeah, the XR headset. I think they're trying to do a kind of blend of what they've done before and mould it in with the Apple Pro what's it thingy, and some of the experiences which Google are talking about chucking in the pot are things like, for example, a vacation simulator, so you can kind of go on holiday but sit and not go on holiday.
How depressing.
Well, yeah, puzzle games and solving mysteries, and so there's some game stuff going on. There's the ability to play American football from the point of view of the player. Um, the what else is there? Um, the vision. Oh, no, that's a different device. I'm not sure. I mean, we when the Apple project came out, and we all kind of watched what it could do with gestures with your hands and all the rest of it. They're clearly going to bake all that in. What's interesting though is that Apple, I think, have now abandoned that project, haven't they? They're not doing it anymore,
Yeah.
and yet Samsung have picked it up. A bit like the thin phone, the Galaxy 25 Edge, which they only jumped into because Apple were doing it and they didn't want to be left behind, and now they've abandoned it. And word is that Apple are abandoning thin phones as well, just in time for Motorola to jump in and do their own thin phone. All very confusing. Anyway, like I said before, who in their right mind, apart from sitting in their lounge at home on their own, are going to be putting this monstrosity on their head? I think that's what we clued before. It's a very niche, specific project that or going to a games arcade or some paintballing thing, or I don't know, some just a very specific niche project. And I can't believe that everyone's sinking so much money into it. I guess it's just R&D when it comes down to it, isn't it?
It is, yes. But I think this time around, I'm quite excited about it. I do love the idea of being able to get immersed into VR. I have used my son's Meta from time to time, and I've got no real desire to use that outside of just out of that testing ground. But I do remember the old Google goggles or what are glasses, the Samsung glasses. I've got VR glasses down in my drawer here that I used to be able to put my phone in when my phone fit. Um,
Yeah.
but then
Ah,
whenever you go for a phone upgrade or something like that, you realise, oh, I can't use that anymore. And they've just sat there ever since, waiting for a phone that does fit to see if they still work or if they're still supported. And that's the danger of these as well. And time after time, people have bought VR headsets and stuff, and they end up gathering dust, and they don't buy them again. It's like it's just one of those dead bits of technology out the door, and you might get enthusiastic about it for a little while, but they have to get the price right, and they have to get the development support correct and give you something actually to do with it rather than just play with it. A lot of people don't bother with decks on their phones and tablets, and only use it whenever they absolutely have to. I got decks up and running on my tablet 2 weeks ago when I was in America because I needed a computer. And I was like, oh, I have decks. And I went and opened it and it was like, which one do you want to use? Classic decks or new decks? And I was like, I don't know. I just want a web browser, please. Um, and it was annoying, but it was really handy. I just hadn't used it in that long. It was my own stupid fault for not keeping up to date with the happenings of decks. And it's the same with this. You have this probably sitting in your drawer until such time as you go, oh, I could use that to use it. Or they need that killer feature to make people want to use this. And I always thought that the whole Netflix idea where you're sitting in a cinema and you've got the rows of chairs in front of you, that might sell people on it. And you might get people taking them with them on planes. But instead, people just, they're happy enough to use the entertainment system in the back of the chair in front of them, which is really, really annoying. But yeah, I think it is down to price. If this comes out at like £100 or something like that, I think they're
two
really
2 grand, 2 grand.
oh
The word on the word on the street is that it's going to undercut the cost of the Vision Pro by about $500, but it looks like it's going to be about 2 grand.
so moving on. Because that's dead in the water. And the EU has introduced new legislation that requires power banks and wall warts, like the actual power delivery things that you plug into the wall to power your device, wall warts for consumer electronics to include detachable USB Type-C cables from 2028. Now, obviously 2028 is a wee while away. We'll probably have a new USB standard coming in by then. But this is aiming for like a greater interoperability and sustainability. And it follows the previous mandates for USB standardization on phones and tablets and laptops. The rules apply to external power supplies up to 200 watts, requiring at least one USB Type-C port with a detachable cable support, using the USB PD standard. The goal will be to allow users to use a single EPS and cable across multiple devices, which is really sort of, I'd say, a step forward and quite a sensible move for the European Union. Any thoughts, Ted?
I was just trying to reflect on what devices I've got and what power bricks I've got and which ones have got this already. And the one that springs to mind is Motorola, because the 125 watt brick and the 68 watt brick that I've got here, they both have got a USB-C hole in them to plug in whatever cable you want. Some of the devices. Like I've got this Qi charger in front of me, and that's got a removable cable in it as well. So that's not sealed in. I'm not quite sure what devices any longer still have sealed cables. I suppose the change will be to make sure the USB-C, of course. This cradle on my desk has got a USB-C in it, but I've got another cradle that's still a micro USB. So yeah, slowly but surely things are going across and keeping bricks with non-sealed cables when they're power chargers. It's very sensible because you can plug what you like in. What would be even better is if they made it so that it had to be at least one USB-C port and one USB-A port to cover all those legacy devices that are not going to catch up anytime soon. Because USB-A is still fairly out there in lots and lots of ways, as we
No,
know.
it is absolutely, yeah, yeah. You can even still, I'm just looking at one of those power grids that you buy, that has a bunch of USB A's and it's got one USB C at the edge of it.
Yeah,
Five USB A's on it and one USB C. Yeah.
yeah.
So they still are incredibly popular, but yeah, I think this is a step in the right direction, and I applaud this, and I hope we get it here in the UK. If Ireland is still in the UK in 2028, there's a possibility we might not be.
Let's not
Yeah.
go there.
No, let's not. Anyway, that about brings us to the end of the news. There's a couple of little bits and pieces that I wanted to talk about in between times. Actually, I'm going to throw in as well because it's just come into my mind there because I got a message about it. Anyone who is in Northern Ireland should really be aware that on the 1st of November, Amiga Belfast is arriving, and it's coming to Royal Avenue in Belfast, and I will be there. I will be signing autographs and taking flack from people. So get your tickets. Have a look online for Amiga Belfast. Paperless NGX. I was having a look around at some of the self-hosted things that you can get, and I've always. I got into a good thing a couple of years ago whenever I was scanning in all my pay slips and all my pension information and things like that. But it got a bit kind of messy because I'd put it into maybe Microsoft OneNote for a few years and then go, oh, I'm sick of OneNote. I'm going to move over to Google Keep or Evernote or Obsidian or various different places, or keep it all on Google Drive. And then you decide to move from one to the other. So I just thought, you know what, I'd like to have a centrally self-hosted solution. And I found this thing called Paperless NGX, recommended by a very strong community online, which is a very, very clever electronic document recognition software thing that allows you to file all of your paper stuff, whether you want to most things are generally sent to you via PDF. Like if you buy car insurance or house insurance, you'll get all the documents through, and then you can just drag and drop them into this, and it'll ask you, what way do you want this to be set up, or as you do stuff, it sensibly learns from you. I put some travel insurance documents into it, and it was like, oh, these look like travel insurance. Do you want to mark them as travel insurance? I went, fantastic, and did so. And it also works out from the metadata that's already in the PDF, what date it was created from, so it gives you a better idea. So if you put in old car insurance, it'll show it as, 2023, 2022, 2021, because it did that, and allows you to keep all your documents in the one place. So whenever you come to renew your car insurance, you can have a look back and see what you had previously, or who you'd been to, and how much things had cost. So it's a really, really cool and feature-rich a document storage system, and I love it. I was really getting into it on, was it Friday? Friday evening, all the kids are, out playing and things like that, and I get to sit there and go through all of my paperless stuff and categorize it and put it in dates and things like that, and I can color code it and make notes. Well, I don't know if I can make notes at the moment. I've got a funny feeling you can, but working through all of the different features that are in there, I've only just scratched the surface, and I adore it. Have you ever used anything like this, Ted?
I don't. It feels like it's kind of a bit 1999ish, really, and
Right.
all of the documents that I have wanted to keep, all over the whole length of time of using G Drive and Gmail, because basically everything comes into Gmail, and Google Drive now and AI, Google's AI Gemini, it is searching wherever you want. And if you start using Notebook LM, the same is true in there now. And you can just search and find it searches all the data inside the documents, and it just, the giant search tool is just there. And also you can, unlike the paperless NGX that you've got here, um, you can access it from my Google stuff. I can access from apps or devices or tablets or anywhere I am. I'm presuming this is kind of tied to a Linux computer, is it? Or a
Nope.
they seem to be no, is it?
No, I've got an app on my phone and my tablet and
Oh,
my
okay,
Chromebook.
okay. Oh, okay. I take that back then. So it is usable across multiple devices.
Hmm.
In which case, that makes it better. But it's not intelligently digging into, what you just described about spending your weekends scanning stuff in and making decisions and all the rest of it. Well, my system, I think, with Google, if you're prepared to trust Google, is that it does all that for you. And when you want to know when was the last time I renewed my car insurance, you just write that into Gemini
Yeah.
in plain English, and it will just bring it to you, and that's it. So, um, yes, that's it really. That's all I've got to say.
Well, you can do all that whenever you scan things in. It notices dates and stuff like that, and you can set up track work fields and things like that will tell you, your insurance is coming to an end on the 11th of September 2028. So 2028. I don't know why I picked that year, 2026. And you can, set a reminder that in August of 2026, you should start looking for new insurance. So it sits there in your workflow. Workflow, that's the one I was looking for. And you can add people to it as well. As I'm testing this, but I do plan on adding my wife to it as well, so she can have her own document storage as well, and then I can share a document with her with a click of a button, and then she can go and read that, because we currently have a complaint up against P&O's cruise company because of the shit cruise that we went on. They ruined it for us. That's about to go through arbitration. So the documents are going to be shared between myself and my wife, and it makes it really easy for you to be able to send stuff on. You can just select a bunch of documents and go email if I need to send them to someone in particular. I can attach images and things like that to go along to bolster a wee file of information on stuff, and it's just great. I'm as I say all this, I am only scratching the surface. I haven't been through as much of it as there is, because looking down the side I can see how you can manage all your documents and do stuff and add your own tags to it, and it can suggest tags, and you can have, I believe you can have comments as well, where people can add comments. So if I was to put a comment on and my wife was to disagree with it and say no, we need to do this at this time, then that could be added to it as well. I've even taken all my all my manuals for my strimmer and for my rotavator and for my wood chipper and my lawnmower, and I've got those in there as well. And whenever I'm out in the garden now, I can, whenever I'm looking to do a fuel mix, so I know how much concentrated oil to put into the fuel for my hedge cutters or my strimmer, I can just look it up in that, because I've got it highlighted in the document, so I don't lose it again. Because I'm forever walking up to the house and going, "Where's the strimmer manual?" Right, it's 50 to 1. Okay, whereas the other one's 25 to 1. Oh, okay. So it's just handy, and Google's not there at all. This is entirely offline. It's a Docker container, so I can just upgrade it as new features come out with the latest version, and it doesn't touch the internet at all. And then it all backs up to a nice archive or encrypted archive, which I can keep on Google Drive, and all the information will be backed up there. If anything does happen to my self-hosted NAS, I can just download that encrypted information, and no one will know anything about me. It's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. Come back to me in 2 weeks and I'll probably be bored of it and go, "It's the most boring thing in the world. I'm sick of adding tags to this
Well,
document or
exactly, and,
that
and and
document.
that's my point really, is because Google just does all that for you. And I've also just looked up the app on the Play Store for Android, and the only one that I can find is actually been developed by some third party bloke, which means that you've got to also trust whoever it is doing that with your data,
It's open
otherwise you won't.
source, so yeah. It's
Yeah,
what's it called? Paperless mobile. Yeah.
it's very very bloody geeky and nerdy, typical of you, that is.
Well, yeah. It's I'm addicted to my tech, so this is the kind of thing I want to do. I don't want to just give all my information to Google straight away, so that they can lose it at some stage in the future.
They've never lost anything of mine.
Well,
I've
not that
been,
you know
I,
of. Google has been hacked.
yeah. Anyway, as I've said many times, I've chosen to be in bed with Google. No one else, and I reject almost everyone else, but Google, I think, is the one to be in bed with.
Well, whenever you catch some sort of STD, you gotta ask where it came from. I know exactly how sanitized my paperless is because it is open source. So if anything nefarious was to pop up in the source code, alarm bells would be ringing, and you don't have to update to that new version. You can have a look and see before the new version arrives. Whereas Google, you don't. Things just update from the App Store as they like, and they can change whatever they like along the way and take more access of this. And whenever you have a look at what you accept, the privileges that an app has, and especially whenever it comes to Chrome browser extensions, you just don't realize how much you're giving away. And you think, oh well, they've got access to my microphones. Why does a camera, or well, why does a document scanner need access to your microphone? Don't
I
get
do
that.
get, I do get that. I do understand the argument, but I just don't care because I think that the trade-off in convenience and all the great stuff that Google do is worth it, and I completely trust them that if they want access to my microphone, then they have got access to my microphone. I don't care. I'm not hiding anything from anyone, and I know there's the "I'm not hiding anything" argument that goes around and around occasionally, and everyone says, "Oh, watch out for that one." But and I'm not saying that I trust everyone. I just trust Google. I would be arguing the same as you if it was for Microsoft or Apple or anyone else really, except Google. Samsung. I don't give any much of my data to Samsung, or Honor, or any of the Chinese brands. I had this. Actually, that links us into the next item really, because I had this device which was made by Bigme, a e-ink phone, which was sent over kindly by Jim Fowle for me to review for PSC. And I couldn't believe they wanted you to make a Big Me account, and in order to, pretty much in order to be able to use it properly. And the thing is littered with Chinese characters all over the place, and eventually I got rid of some of them. But giving my data to a Big Me account, and then putting the Play Store on it and trusting a Chinese company like Big Me with my sign in to Google, which I know is token based and shouldn't happen, blah blah blah. But in the end, I backed off. I didn't do it. I wasn't prepared to risk my Google data to a Chinese company who can't even produce a global device which is not littered with Chinese characters. So I backed off. The reason I'm saying that I links into the new item is because the next item was about me trying to get a scribing tablet. I'm still trying to do that. I know we spoke about it last week, and you poo-pooed the whole thing of scribing, and preferred paper and pen. Fair enough. But we'll come to another option in the bargain basement a bit later, which might be a bit of a solution. I like having a scribing device, and I don't like the scribing experience you get on glass, which is, I mean, I've got tablets here, particularly the Samsung one, for example, which works brilliantly well, but it's just like writing on glass, and it's just not very intuitive. And I want a paper-like feel to my writing, to my scribing, that is much better. And some of the e-ink units do that. I was interested to see this week, however, legitimising my return of that colour books unit I had. That the Amazon themselves are saying that the colours that they're using in their e-ink readers, or rather the Kindle devices, are not very good for reading, which is exactly what I found. So if you're going to look at comic books on it, then okay, fair enough. But as soon as you try to look at the at written text, black and white stuff, as I found with the books unit when I sent it back, it's just rubbish, and the colour just gets in the way because it's layered over the top, and frankly, it's just a bit of a dead loss. So they, as I said before, they haven't got the colour sorted out yet, and they ought to leave it alone until they have. So I'm still on the lookout for a device that is not ridiculously priced. As you pointed out last week, that remarkable one, really, really nice, but it's stupid money, 430 quid. We need to get one cheaper. There is an event coming up this week on the 21st of October, which is run by Books, and maybe there'll be some new hardware that's not stupidly priced, but is actually very well specified and will bring the costings of all this down a bit. So I shall be watching out for that. And the sad tale is that I've had the Books Nova 2 since about 2000, I think, when it first came out, and it's stuck on Android 9. So when you try to do anything with it, you can't, because Play system updates came in with Android 10, so it doesn't even get those. So I've taken my Google account off of that Nova 2 because it's no longer in any way secure. And these e-ink devices, they're boldly upfront about the fact that they're never going to update an OS system. So if you buy an e-ink reader or scribing tablet or whatever, and it comes with Android 14, say, they're quite upfront. They're saying, no, that's it. That's all you get. We're not updating OS versions, unlike phones and what have you. And you think to yourself, well, is that terribly secure? When my Nova 2, 5 years down the road, I'm not happy to use, apart from just using it as a basic scribing instrument and not signing into the Play Store and getting the apps that actually make it useful, including Google Play Books, for example. I think I've rabbited on enough about this now. Your turn.
No, it's fascinating to listen to you procrastinate over all these things. It is an issue, and you've touched on a great many issues and stuff like that. But it's a shame about the books. That was quite a nice little device. It really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were going to take off in a big way. How many books ones did they manage to get out?
Well, there's Books devices rolled out, many devices,
Yeah.
all the time, but the Nova 2 was just really nice. It did have to be fair, it did have a glass screen, but the pen that came with it made it feel a bit like writing on paper. But they're not brilliant, and you've got to get a good one. That's why I'm hoping that the Books event this week might bring something new and fresh. You can get good quality stuff like the Remarkable stuff, although the Remarkable doesn't plug into Google Play services, so you can't get the Play Store on it. But good quality Books devices, they're 500 and 600 quid. And you were quite right what you said last week, really. They need to be cheaper but better. So when they are 200 quid but as good as the 600 quid one, then I'll be in, I think.
Yeah, you'll let it through. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's each to their own. each to their own. And
Yeah.
I do love the idea of one of these tabs. With the Samsung Galaxy tablets, you've been able to write stuff on them for years, and I've always wanted to be able to do that, but I never have. Never have.
Yeah.
And I know that what you're talking about with what we're coming up to in the bargain basement, I have something similar to that, and I bought it for my daughter, and we'll talk about it when we get to it, because
Okay.
we'll move into the bargain basement now, because there's a bit of a conversation to be had there. And the first one I believe is mine. It is, yes. It's the Ugreen Uno charger, which is a 65-watt USB Type-C charger, the Nexode 3-port GAN fast charger plug Type-C. It's a cute little dude who sits almost wearing a pair of headphones that has a USB Type-A and 2 Type-Cs on the top. And you can just plug him in, and away he goes. There's a wee screen on the front that displays some cute little emojis at you, where like cute little character faces and things, and will tell you useful information as you want it, and then you can pull them apart and plug them in if you need to. Very cute, and it's down in price from £35 to £26.58, and that ends in 11 hours. Ooh, so you might. But I think this goes on sale quite frequently. Having a look at the Keepa, yeah, it sort of flicks between 26 quid and £35 quite uniformly every 2 weeks.
Very cute. Very cute. Those feet sticking out the front are really funny.
They are, yeah. It looks a wee bit like a Minion, that type of thing, but geekier.
Yeah. Now, my dad goes to medical appointments, and when he comes back, I say to him, "What did they say to you? And what did you ask them? And what was the answer?" And he says, "Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I can't remember what he said. I can't remember what she said." So I thought, I said to him, "Right, why don't you take a recorder with you? These medics are used to this, and if you say to them, I'm not saying to hide behind it, but just say up front, do you mind if I record you? And they won't mind, because you just want to remember later." Anyway, so I thought, right, I'll get him a key ring recorder. I know that he can do this on his phone, but he can't work his phone properly. He's 89, and he's just like... So this little one that I picked out...
Physical buttons, they need physical buttons.
Exactly, and this one's got physical buttons. So the one that I picked out is reduced from £26 to 21, and it's a keyring one, and it's got 2 little buttons on it, and you just switch the switch on it, and it starts recording. It records for up to 18 hours continuously. One of the switches is for voice activated, and one is for just recording everything. So the next trick is to actually get him to take it with him and actually use it. But anyway, yeah, that was my first one. A little bit of money off of that, and I'm sure there are tons more of these things out there. This is just the one that I picked up on.
Well, the one thing I was a bit concerned about was, the audio quality, and I don't think that's something you're going to get very well from the Amazon review sections. They'll probably say, "Oh yeah, it sounds great," whereas you get it and it's really tinny and nasty, and it sounds like an audio
But it doesn't matter.
recorder from.
All you need to do in this case is to hear what the doctor has said.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, no, I've been thinking about something like that for my mother, because she refuses to have a smartphone, which will cause problems whenever she has to have the UK ID app, which would be interesting. But yeah, it looks good. It's quite big. So the other thing I noticed about it, but it was that I would like to know how good the sound quality is. Would you, if you have it dangling there, would you be able to fully pick up what is being said, or do you have to point it in a particular way at the person, and on the desk, and go talk into that?
Sound quality is really clear, even in noisy rooms, says one reviewer. The noise reduction does a great job, and the voice activation mode, own your blah blah blah. I've used it in meetings, and it picks up everyone's voices clearly. I mean, that's only one review, but that's a sample.
Fair enough. Okay, right. Well, with 21 quid, that's a bargain. I'm going to add it to my basket just get it from my mum, and if it's crap, I'll be round to see you. Next up is a dirt cheap camera from Tapo. I'm actually really liking Tapo at the moment because I changed all my home plugs over to Tapo branded plugs, and they will all work really nicely with my Home Assistant. And I was trying to change all of my cameras away from Blue Rams, who are bastards, to Reolink. But the solar panel ones don't actually work terribly well with Home Assistant and Google Assistant, but the Tapo ones do. And this little one is a good looking outside camera. You know, that's the crucial thing here. Usually around this price point you get internal cameras, but this is an outside camera. For 30 quid, it's down from £51 to 30 quid. And there's something there about no Amazon gift card. It's the C216 2K 3 megapixel outdoor camera with 360-degree pan and tilt. It does night vision. It's got IP65 built into it. Well, it's IP rated at 65. It connects to your Wi-Fi, and you can plug it in if you need to, and it works with Alexa and Google. At 30 quid, I think this is an absolute steal. And if you have a look at some of the videos, or well, at least the footage screenshots that people have put on the Amazon reviews, for 30 quid, this is fantastic. Now, it's not amazing. 2K I think is a bit of a stretch, but it looks really well, and it should just work. Yeah, and the Tapo app, if you're not terribly happy about you using Google Assistant or Home Assistant or any of that, the Tapo app is more than proficient, and it's got tons of nice features in it that you'll be able to get this up and running in no time and really enjoy using it. I think this looks great. I'm going to get one of these from my mum.
The Tapo, yeah, I use the Tapo app for my smart plugs, and you're right, it's really good to use and easy. This presumably you've got to wire this in with mains, have you?
Yeah, that would be the one drawback.
Okay.
I imagine if they put a solar panel with this, it would be, probably a 50 quid more or something like that. But they probably will have a solar version of it somewhere along the lines. I do love solar versions. There is one, 50 quid.
Yeah. This could work well in my new den, though. We were talking before we recorded about the fact that in 18 months' time or thereabouts, I'm going to be giving up this static home and going and living in my dad's house. He's getting less able and needs more support, so I thought I would do that. So I set up a nice little table in the corner of the garage for my computer to go on, and this little Tapo camera might actually be quite a good idea because the garage is not particularly secure, and I could stick that up in the corner and just monitor it when I'm not there. So that would be cool. The reason I brought that to the fore, though, was because I was thinking about a little glass Wi-Fi enabled smart panel heater, which is quite interesting. But going underneath my feet or whatever when it gets cold. It's been reduced from 120 to 100 quid, 99 quid, and it's you can use it with Alexa and voice control it or do whatever you like with it. Turn it off and on, and you can. It's got an LED. Panel on the front which tells you what's going on and what temperature it is and what smart features are going on. I mean, it might be a bit over the top really to be using an app to control a basic heater, which you could have a timer on anyway, but it looks nice, and it's got this kind of glass front panel, and it looks very kind of high-tech-ish and nice little thing. You can also you can take the feet off and stick it on the wall if you like, because if you look at the side picture of it, it's actually got a gap. It's a little bit thick, so it keeps the heat away from the wall, or you can just floor stand it, which is what I would probably do. Runs on electric, of course. This one is 1500 watts, but you can get all sorts of different powered ones for different prices. Might be useful in my den.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what kind of impact this would have on your electricity bill. How do these sort of fare against your standard oil heaters or blow air heaters? Space heaters.
Good question. Yeah.
Some people are saying that it is pretty good, and 5-star reviews, and it's not too uh, environmentally unfriendly, I guess what you would say. Yeah, performance. Yeah, unlike my old heater, this brought the room up to 18 from 22 degrees, from 18 to 22 degrees in less than 10 minutes, which is good. Yeah.
It's not going to do that in a garage, is it? I mean, it
No.
might be that this is not the item for the job for my garage, for my den, but
No, but if you have it right beside you, it'll do the job. It'll warm you, because you should be
yeah,
warming
yeah,
the person rather than the room.
indeed.
Yeah. Okie dokie, nice one. And that's under 120 quid. And it's Devola as well, who are a good brand. I like Devola. They are
99
a bit.
quid.
Oh, yeah, sorry, 99 quid. Yeah, yeah. I read the wrong line on the description. I've got a lot of Devola stuff around the house because they used to send stuff to me, and I found them to be a very, very. Well, they are quite expensive, but they're well reliable stuff, and it's still going all these years later. I bought my mother a black and white printer earlier in the year, and the colour version of it has been dropped in price. This is the Brother HL L3220CWE wireless colour printer. LED printer, that is, with Eco Pro subscription. Now, you get 4 months of that Eco Pro subscription included for free, but it's dropped in price from £220 down to £169. I think at the time I bought the black and white one, it was something like £129 down to £89. And then whenever I registered it with the Eco Free, I got an extra £10 off. And then whenever I did something else, I got an extra £10 off as well. I think it was cashback or something, maybe. But
What's Eco Pro subscription?
it's for the ink, I think, and it sends you the ink whenever you start to run out. But
Oh,
these
right.
Brother printers are. I have yet to change her ink cartridge, and she doesn't use it terribly often. I tend to use it more often than hers, because I can print from here round to her house, which is kind of
Ah, have you seen the
extreme.
price of the toner? Good grief.
Where's the price of the toner?
Well, they bundled one together. That's the only one I'm looking at. 183 quid. You see, my dad's got a brother laser printer thingy, and it's black and white. It's just black, and the toner thingies are about 30 quid. But if you're paying nearly 200 quid for the toner, good grief!
I wonder if
But
that's
if
a
you have,
pricing mistake, or is that a box of. Or, no, that's a multi pack.
oh, is it?
Yeah, £183 for a multi pack containing
Ah.
4.
Right, okay, all right, that's a bit better then. But
Even
I
at that, that's
suppose
still expensive per item. Yeah.
if you've got to have colour, you've got to have colour. We took the decision to say we'll live without colour because it was just cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what I did with my mother, because she just wants to basically print her bank statements, and then I can monopolise it whenever the bloody Canon thing downstairs isn't working, and my HP over there doesn't work, which is frequent, and I'll end up printing to hers and then driving round to get it and back again, which is just easier than. So yeah, and the it's been, I don't know, 6 or 7 months. No, it was before Christmas last year. Yeah, when the Bank of Ireland went paperless. Yeah, it hasn't had a toner change since then. I don't even know what level it's at, but it hasn't had an issue, and it bloody works, and I love it for that.
£33.80 times 5 months I'm being offered.
Oh, really? No, I'm not being offered that. Ooh. Must be a different week. Must be your week this week.
Yeah. Right, the item we were talking about earlier, which is this scribing graphics tablet thingy. Now, the only counter argument to this, based on what I was saying earlier, is that it's obviously tied to your computer. So it's not a tablet you can pick up like the Nova 2, like the books, and take it with you and read books on it. This is just basically a scribing tablet for making notes. If you want to do drawing, then you can as well, of course. But in my case, this would sit on my desk and I'd be able to just use. To be honest, this would be much less use to me than a tablet I could take with me, which is also a book reader and all the rest of it. But this might be useful for some people, and it's been reduced from 80 quid to 57 quid. And it looks like it's quite nifty. It's got some shortcuts on the left there, or on the right, I suppose, if you turn it round, and a rolly wheel thingy for zooming. I take it. You said you had an interest in this.
Yeah, my stepdaughter has one of these. I bought it for her a good number of years back when she was at university because she was doing creative design, and she needed to be able to design, various different uh, animals and things like that to put into her app creations and stuff. And she started using it again quite recently. She got the Apple Pencil and she's been drawing with that, but she wanted something for her PC and she's plugged it in. And whilst it's micro USB at the time, she's scribbling away, designing stuff on it, and it comes with a wee like an ink pot that you put the stylus into to keep it safe on the side of the desk, which I always thought was really quite unique, or cool as well. Looks like you're writing with your quill and parchment or something like that, and she doodles away with it and creates some really nice stuff. And she uses the two between. She'll design something on her iPad, and she'll be able to, I don't know, do fine detail or catch up or do other stuff with this, or write or whatever it is on whatever she's creating. So she's all chuffed with these two levels of graphical input for designers. So you should do quite well with one of these. They are handy.
Fair enough. I just noticed that particular one looks to me like it's a micro USB charging, which is a bit of a shame.
Well, yeah, I was looking at that as well. I was trying to work out if this was the
Maybe
same
not.
one, because that
Maybe not.
the pot that you put the stylus in looks identical to the one she's got, and they're
No,
saying that this is the new 3.0 version.
maybe it is USB-C. I can't quite work it out. Anyway, there you
Yeah,
have it.
nice. All right, well, the next is a smartwatch, and that is over on Amazon. They've reduced the price of the TicWatch Pro 5 for men down to £83.99 from £119.99
For men.
for men. This has a Snapdragon W5 Plus Gen 1, where it runs Wear OS, and it's got 80 hours of battery life. And it's got tracking GPS and water resistance and compass and NFC and all that kind of caper built into it. It looks like a nice little option if you're not fancying Samsung or a highly repairable Pixel watch. I had the TicWatch 3 Pro 3 some years ago, and I really liked it. I just kept forgetting to take it with me and realizing that I preferred my analog watch or tech watch, proper watch, more. I was using it more, and I ended up getting rid of the TicWatch 3. But I'd be sorely tempted at this price to get a TicWatch 5.
That's much cheaper than the TicWatch. I've got a TicWatch Pro 3 here.
Yeah.
And I don't like it particularly because of the software you have to run on your phone to make it work, which I just didn't like at all. I hated it, so it doesn't get used. But the point I'm making is that the TicWatch Pro 3 was I don't know, I don't know, about 200 quid or something, not 80 quid.
Yeah, it was. It was really expensive when it arrived. I was enamored whenever they offered me one. Yeah, but no, this one's down to 83 quid. So maybe there's another one inbound, or TicWatch aren't doing it anymore.
Has it got a rotating bezel? It looks like it might have.
It has a rotating crown, but not a rotating bezel, I don't think.
You see the bezel? It looks like it's got a griffy thing on it.
Yeah, but then my Maserati watch has one of those, and you can't rotate it, which is a bit of a pain in the ass.
Well, fair enough. Right, now I'm going to take advice from you on the nightlight. I've linked to this 4-pack of nightlight thingies, but they're not. The trouble is that they're not movement sensor ones. They're only they go from dusk to dawn, and so you've got no real control over when they go on and when they come off. But the trouble is that the ones that are 3-pin plug ones, which do have motion control, they just seem to be much more expensive. You can get 4 of these for, well, even the normal price is 17 quid. The reduced price is 12 quid, which makes them like £3 each. But yeah, for anyone that is happy to have dusk to dawn ones, these are really well priced for 3 quid each. And but yeah, I'd like a 4-pack for that price, but also motion control, and I can't seem to find them.
Oh, yeah. There's one.
Have you found one? Marvellous,
Yeah.
isn't it? Isn't it marvellous? Isn't it marvellous? For what, for £3 each in a 4-pack?
It's £13.71 for 3-pack. That's not £3 each. I'm sorry, it doesn't meet the criteria. I'll delete it. Gone.
Yeah,
All
there
right.
are. There's also one I found which was clearly had an American plug in it. I said, how are they going to sell those? I mean, it might be that it arrives with a 3-pin plug on it, but all the pictures show it being an American plug. Well, I'm not going to take a risk on that. Balls to them.
Well, that's what we should always say. Right. Okay, well, that brings us to the end. We're sitting at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Ain't bad. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us at gareth@techaddicts.uk. You can also find us on Twitter as well, or X, at techaddictsuk. You can find me on XE Twittery thing, at Gareth Myles, GarethMyles. And then there's Mastodon and Blue Sky. I also have my GarethMyles.com, where I'm pumping out reviews that I've amassed over the last number of months. And Ted, where can they find you?
On MeWe most of the time. That's where I hang out. We've got loads of MeWe groups and we have lots of fun in there, so do come and join us. You can find all the links to all of those groups at tedsalmon.com, and also all of our audio podcasts from me and the team at PodHub UK. So do check all those out, and if you want to buy me a coffee for all that work we put in, you can do that. It's at paypal.me/Ted Salmon. Cheers.
And he does. He needs that coffee. Without the coffee, he's a bastard to get along with. All right, take care, and we'll speak to you all next week.
Bye.